Hope you're having a great weekend. I'm just hanging out here. Thought I'd talk a little bit about our project cars, starting with this guy. So I picked this up a couple months ago, E46 320i. As you can see, needs a little work for considering we live in Ontario, Canada. She's not going to be perfect. And it had been sitting in the field for a little while, probably longer than it should have been. A lot of moisture under the carpet when we picked her up, but most of the damage seems to be on the driver's side. She had a couple of dead mice in her though, up in the insulation here. So she needs some work. But pros to this car, I've gotten a set of rims out of it, and I've gotten a set of headers over there out of it. I took the seats out and using them on my sim setup, well, our sim setups. So I've made my money back out of this thing. I'm happy with it. Have a lot of ideas with it too. Thinking of doing some sort of engine swap possibly. But the great thing with this car is even though it's a 320, it has a surprise under the hood. It had 2.5 M50 in it. So these engines are great. I don't know about this one. Needs a bit of work. I'm curious and dabbling to rebuild the thing because unlike the engine that comes out of the E46, which is aluminum, this one is a cast iron block and it is got a lot of boost applications to it. Easily make 400 horse just by upgrading the top end. So I might do that. But if I don't, dabbling in the idea of possibly doing a K-swap or an LS swap, because LS swaps, we're more familiar with that platform as we've already done it. Yeah. Speaking of this engine, what it came out of was this guy over here. So this car we picked up originally as a parts car for our other drift car. Old Shitty, old Reliable over there. This is the result of this weekend. I think our car is screaming for help right now. The more we took off it, we saw how clean it was. There's absolutely no rust on this. So we got LS donated to us from our buddy Josh, 5.3 out of a 2015 Silverado. So it was great saving money in that aspect. We didn't want to break the bank doing this build. We got a ZF 5-speed transmission, and we adapted them together with a PCM adapter plate. Pop this guy open. Grab some light. So, from when we got the engine donated to us to, we were just focusing on getting it running. Obviously with the hood scoop, we weren't looking for making it pretty. So it's got no relocate brackets. A lot of it's got like the engine mounts are custom work. We've got the Canadian Tire Special here with the exhaust manifold. We just turned them backwards and welded on some 90s and pointed them out the bumper, which I think looks pretty cool. First year, like we had this engine in and running 6 months, and it was all stock. Besides, like we had our throttle cable. We did a Holley 3021 oil pan for low profile, so it would fit better. And there's baffles in it to help with the oil sloshing around, which you really need in a drift application. We took it out first year and it was having a lot of fuel issues. So we installed a air fuel sensor, and we noticed on the gauge it was just going back and forth like crazy. It wasn't stable at all. And we took out the fuel injectors, we cleaned them all, realized that was one of the issues because it was stable after that. So we're like, all right, we solved it. No, we didn't. Took it out the next year and it was still having problems where it wouldn't rev past 4 grand. It was still like, it wasn't bogging out as much, but it was still having some issues. And then we got shut down because we broke the drive shaft bolts on it. So this winter, we did a lot of upgrade parts to it. For the fuel system, because we were having so many issues with that, we got a higher GPM fuel pump, all new AN lines, fuel pressure regulator, so we can adjust things on the fly, going into some new Holley fuel rails. Also, because the LS has oil starvation issues, while we had the engine apart and stuff, we decided to upgrade the oil pump. So we got a high pressure oil pump, and while we were in there, we redid the timing chain and the sprocket. So one thing to note when you're replacing the oil pump is you need to make enough room to be able to take off the pickup tube. And with the adapter plate for the ZF transmission in the engine, 2 of the bolts on the engine side go into the oil pan, and you can't actually remove them while the transmission's attached. But if you're brave enough, like we did, was just drill a hole into your $3,000 plate so you can drop your oil pan a little and get that all together. Bad engineering. And the other issue, drive shaft issue, was since that broke, bolts broke, and we noticed that the carrier bearing broke. So one of the issues we had is the ZF transmission won't mate up to a 323 drive shaft. We got this guy. It's a Guibo from RevShift. Not at all for this application, but it had the proper offsets that it would mate them together. But it was a little bit thick with the bushings. It kind of was compressing the drive shaft a little. I think that was part of the problem that contributed to it. It wasn't sitting right, so the bolts broke and bent, and the carrier bearing got torn right up. Yeah, basically, in the back of our minds, we kind of always knew this was going to be an issue, but we just wanted to get the car running and make sure it works properly, because like this is the last of our concerns right here. We tried dabbling in a lot of different ideas when it came to the Guibo to make it work with the drive shaft, but there was too much vibration and movement, so we ended up going with just a custom one-piece drive shaft. But to do that, we needed to have an adapter plate on either end. So we got a ZF adapter plate on the transmission side from Drift HQ, and we got an adapter plate for the differential, 4-bolt from SLG, and measured it out, and now we have a brand new one piece in there. It's 3-inch now, nice and upgraded, no vibration, so that should be able to handle everything, which is great because besides the power in the drive shaft, this thing was driving like a dream. It was still, even with the gas issues we were having, smoke show. Bushings in the rear suspension. It's got BC Racing coilovers. It's got FDF angle kit on it. So this thing drives like a dream. Just floats around. The suspension on it's great. Besides that, let's come take a look at the interior. What we have going on in here. Let me grab the light. We have some Sparco racing seats. A Braun 4-point harness, and a little unique thing to this car is we have FDF racing seat brackets. So you can't find those on their website, but maybe if you ask them nicely, they'll make some for you. We also have FDF heel plates, FDF inline hydro, and Chase Bay's brake lines that go front and back. We got the OBD for our electronic gauges, and then we have a couple mechanical ones, and some fire extinguishers for when this thing's finally running right. But overall, I'm excited. I think we've covered every issue that we've had with this car. I'm positive that we fixed all the issues that we've had, and she should be running really good. Lots of fuel and a drive shaft that can handle it. So next weekend we plan on getting this out, and we'll have another video on how it ran. Hopefully get some good shots. We'll compare to how it was running. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Should be a lot of fun.